In this video, we'll be learning about proper subsets. So for this first problem, it says consider a set Q of common fruits. So we have Q has the elements apples, bananas, cherries, and dates. Determine if the following sets are proper subsets of Q. So we have set A containing the elements apples and cherries, set B containing just cherries, and set C containing bananas, dates, cherries, and apples. So a subset is going to be a set that only has elements from an original set, from the set it's referring to. So, for example, a subset of set A, which I'll say set A has the elements 1, 2, and 3. A subset has to only have elements from this set. It can't have random numbers like 4, 5, 6. That's not in the set. So it can only be 1, 2, or 3, but it also can be nothing as well, and I'll explain that. So let's say set B is a subset of set A. B can have 1, and B can have 2 and 3 because that's still in the set. And B can also be everything in the set. It can be the same exact set. That's what a subset is. But it also can have nothing in it. The reason why is technically after this 3 there's nothing, so nothing is technically in the set. Now a proper subset is a little different from a subset. It follows that same definition of a subset, except it cannot equal the exact number of elements in the set it's referring to. So let's say we have set A. It has the elements 1, 2, and 3. So a proper subset cannot have exactly 1, 2, and 3 in it. It can have elements like, we'll say C is a proper subset. C can have a 3 in there. C can have a 3 and a 2 in there. But C can't have exactly 1, 2, and 3. It can't be the same exact set. C can still have the empty set, but just not exactly the same as set A. Now, knowing this information, we can begin the problem. So we have set Q containing the elements apples, bananas, cherries, and dates. And we want to determine if the following sets are proper subsets of set Q. So let's start off with A. We have set A containing the elements apples and cherries. Apples are in set Q and cherries are in set Q. So it has some elements from set Q. So we know that for sure it's a subset. Now, is it a proper subset or a subset? Remember, a proper subset is when it contains only elements from the set we're referring to, and the amount of elements is less than the amount of elements in the set we're referring to. Since it doesn't have the entire set of set Q, we know that it's a proper subset. So we can write this as A, and then we have the notation that it is a proper subset of a set, which is just a elongated C, and then we have Q. So this is just saying A is a proper subset of set Q. Now for set B, we have cherries, only cherries. Now we know that cherries is in our original set. So knowing that, we know that it's going to be a subset. It's a part of set Q. Now, since it doesn't have all the elements in set Q, we know that it's a proper subset. So we can write this as B and then is a proper subset of set Q. And that's going to be your answer. So for set C, we have bananas, dates, cherries, and apples. So if you notice, these sets, set Q and set C, have the same exact elements. Now remember, a proper subset is when a set has only elements from a certain set, but not exactly the same elements. Now here, they have the same exact elements. So we know that set C is not a proper subset of set Q. So how do we write this as an equation? We can just write C is equal to Q. And that's going to be all of your answers. So for the second problem, it says consider the set G of popular game consoles. We have set G has the elements PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and Sega Genesis. Give an example of a proper subset containing one member, two members, and no members. So members is just a different terminology for elements. They mean the same exact thing, but it's just said a different way. So we want to create a proper subset containing one member first. So all it's saying is we want a set that's pulling elements from set G, but as long as the set is not equal to set G, then it's fine. But for the first one, we want to have one member. So that means we want to have one element in our set. So I'll say set H is going to be our proper subset. So if we just want to pull one element, it doesn't matter. It can be PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, or Sega Genesis. I'm going to do Xbox. So that's going to be your answer for the one member example. Now for the two member example, we can pull two elements from set G. So I'm going to say I is going to be our two member example of a proper subset from set G. So I'm going to do PlayStation and Xbox. And that's going to be your answer for the two member example. Now for the no member example, I'll say J is our no member example of a proper subset. All we have to do is just put an empty set, because after the Sega Genesis there's nothing, which technically is a part of set G. So in a sense we can say that J is a proper subset of set G. So those are going to be your answers and one of your remaining answers.